Huh? No, for me, it's all about the rhythm, the motion, the way you go up and down. Oh, yeah. Skipping, my favorite. Hi, it's Dave Young, and welcome to another edition of Yeah Yeah. So I started off doing kids' parties. There used to be a shop in the Stephen Screen Centre called It's Magic, and I originally was selling clothes, the rag trade on Grafton Street. And one day a guy came in to me and he said, "We're looking for a magician for the magic shop on the green." And I said, "Yeah, I can do that." I knew like two tricks. Anyway, I went in, and from there, I started doing more parties. I became the resident magician on a show on TV called The Beatbox with Ian Dempsey on a Sunday morning. If I can find any footage of that, it's mad. You want to see me with hair doing magic tricks, half asleep because I'm not a morning person. Anyway, yeah, so I would do magic. But in 2003, I took the magic to a whole different level. Now, before I get to that, I better show you some magic tricks. Now, you might think Keith Barry is the only man who can hack your brain, who can get inside your mind. Well, I can get inside your mind right now. Oh, yes, you may think you don't have a mind. You do, and I can read it. I'm about to read your mind. Okay, come a bit closer to the screen. That's good. Now, make your mind go blank. Oh, that was quick. Okay. Say for me, roses are red, violets are blue. A bit louder. Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm a schizophrenic, and so am I. Okay. I want you now to think of a Hollywood movie star, living or dead. A famous Hollywood movie star, living or dead. You got one? You got one. Okay. I have in here a photograph of the person you are thinking of. Now, would that be something? Would that be magic? How could I possibly know what's going through that head? If you're a female, you probably don't know what's going through your head on a minute basis. If you're a fella, nothing goes through your head. Anyway, okay, concentrate on the name of the famous Hollywood movie star you're thinking about. Have you got it? Well, I have here a photograph of that Hollywood movie star that you're about to say. Are you ready? On the count of three, I want you to shout at the screen the name of the person you're thinking of. Here we go. Or just think it if you're on a bus or a train. Don't start shouting out. You know, they'll lock you up. That happened to me. Anyway, are you ready? Here we go. The famous Hollywood movie star you're thinking of is... Well, there you are. There he is at 6 months. Isn't that brilliant? Now, if you'd have said Eddie Murphy, there you go. Anyway, yep, I started off as a magician. Not only with mind reading, kids stuff, illusions, different things. Here is a very old, famous Chinese box called the Chinese box trick. Okay? I'm going to turn it around this way to face me. Okay, I'm going to open it up. And in here, we have a dice or a die, as they're commonly known. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the die into the box. You keep your eye on it at all times. Okay? So we'll put it in like that. We close the lid there, close the lid there like that. Okay. Now, my job is to make the dice disappear from the box. Are you ready? Here we go. Whoosha waba whoopoo. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Can I have some magic music? Thank you. Isn't it hard to believe? I made a living doing this at one stage. Can you believe it? Cunning tricks like this. Can you believe it? But it really is. To do this, you really do need to be magic. What? You think I'm just switching? No, no. Look. You have me watching. Because the dice has disappeared completely from the box. And it went over to here. There you go. So these are just some of the tricks I used to do years ago when I was a magician. But in 2003, I decided to take it to a whole new level. An American magician called David Blaine was hanging over the Thames River in London, if you remember, and he was in a glass box. And his gig was he was starving for 44 days. Okay? Now, I looked at this and I thought, that's a bit disrespectful. All the people in the world starving, and your man is just starving, and he's a millionaire. I'm thinking, how can I take the piss out of this and do it in an Irish way? Because in Ireland, we do everything the other way around to the rest of the world anyway. You know that. Like in Saudi Arabia, if you commit adultery, you get stoned. We do that the other way around. So I thought, instead of starving for 44 days, I'll eat and drink like a king, doing it the Irish way, the other way around. Now, I can't do it for 45 days. I'm a busy guy. Your man's obviously not busy. I'll do it for 44 hours. That's exactly what we did. I went out to Ardmore Studio. I got a guy called Jerry Johnson from a company called Special Effects Ireland. Jerry was a great guy. If you never met Jerry, you'd love him.
Yeah, talk like that, yeah? We're gonna, you want to make you a box, yeah? Gonna get a box, put you in the box, hang you over the Liffey, yeah? The Liffey, the river, yeah?
And I said, yeah, that'll be brilliant, Jerry, thanks. And that's exactly what we did. We got this box made. Exactly like David Blaine's, all made from glass. I remember when we were having a meeting with the security down there on Sir John Rochester's Quay. That's where it took place. I remember saying to one of the guards said to me, a big country guy, he says, "Are you putting targets on this box?" And I said, "Targets? Why?" He says, because every young fella from Sheriff Street or the flats is going to be firing pellet guns and bullets at you. I hope it's bulletproof. See, the things you don't think of. Anyway, we got the box made. I needed huge sponsorship. The box was very expensive.
Not going to be cheap, yeah?
And it wasn't cheap. A great guy called Marty actually made it, who worked for Jerry at the time, and Dominic, great guys. And you want to see the job they did on this box. But my box, in David Blaine's one, the magician from America, in his one, there was nothing. Just him in a box hanging over the Liffey. And I thought, that's boring. So in mine, there was a bed, there was a mini fridge. All the food was coming from the Mansion House. They were feeding me with a cherry picker. I was 60 feet over hanging over the River Liffey. And they bring up the cherry picker 3 times a day with champagne, hors d'oeuvres, steaks, caviar, oysters, you name it. It was, because it was the other way around. I was eating and drinking like a king. I wasn't going to be starving. I had a little TV in my box. I had a video recorder in there where I was watching Oliver, because later on I appeared in Oliver. So I was learning my lines while I was up there for the whole weekend on my own, in me box. Well, some people would say he's Elvis box, but I did it all for charity. Not like David Blaine as a publicity stunt for himself. I raised £50,000 for the Capuchin. Now, I have to be careful how I say that. The Capuchin priests. They deal with the homeless, and they're a great charity. I'm not sure if they're still going. I presume they are. I do a lot of stuff for the homeless because I kind of feel we're all a couple of paychecks away from being homeless. Some people will walk by somebody who's looking for a few bob or a sandwich or a cup of coffee. I always give them a few bob, because that could be you or me one day. It really could. Nobody could not end up homeless. Donald Trump, well, if he keeps going on the way he's going, he probably will, but always throw them a few bob. Some people say, oh, it's wrong and it's this and it's that. It's not wrong. Giving something, if you can, to someone else who's less fortunate than you, there's far worse things you could be doing. Really is. Some of these people have just lost their way. That's all it is. And if you can get them back on track, or spend a bit of time with them as well. Don't just throw money at them. Talk to them. Try and have a chat, Some of them will be friendly. Some will be very, agitated because they can't believe the situation they're in. But look, what's that old saying? Oh, what is it? for the will of God, so go I. I can't remember it. But what I'm trying to say is they're just another person who's lost their way maybe, or got into financial difficulties or bad circumstances. And if you can go out for dinner and you can be up all night buying things on Temu and Shein and all that rubbish, you can throw a couple of quid into their little hat. You'll feel the better of it. You will. It's a good thing to do. Anyway, back to me hanging over the Liffey. So 50,000 we raised for the Cabbage Patch. See there, I did it. I knew I'd do it. They're called the Capuchin priests, but I kept calling them the Cabbage Patch priests because Cabbage Patch dolls were a big thing back then. And I couldn't help it. I think I even said it on live television. You know, I'm delighted to raise all the money for the Cabbage Patch priests. Anyway, it was a great cause. And I was up there for 44 hours. I went in on a Friday evening. It was bitter cold. It was October of the year. And I arrived on, I think, sidecar, a motorbike, big dramatic entrance. And up I went 50 feet. And I stayed in that box for 3 days. And then rather than David Blaine, he did it. And at the end, he just came out and he was a bit skinnier, if you believe he was even in the box. I was actually in the box for a weekend. But I did disappear from it at the end, and I appeared water skiing coming down the Liffey. It was great crack. I remember a cameraman from TV3, I think it's called Virgin Media now. He said to me, "You got me." He didn't see me disappearing from the box. I'll let you know how I did it. My bed was one of these beds with a kind of a solid, well, not a solid, a base. A bed you couldn't hide under if you were stuck, right? So on the last day, Marty, who built the box for me, we put him in a baseball cap and a jacket, and he's bald like me. And we sent him up in the cherry picker with the food, with my champagne lunch. And what we did was we pulled the curtains around the box and we did a switch. I got dressed up in the baseball cap and the jacket, and I came back down with the Delph after about an hour. So to the audience, it looked like a guy was bringing me up food, and then a guy was leaving with food. But the guy leaving was me. Marty, under his jacket, had a saw, big handsaw. He sawed a hole out the base of the bed, got into the base, and covered it up so that I came down with the tray. I then went through the crowd. There was thousands at this. It was brilliant. Because Beyonce, they weren't all there to see me. Beyonce was on in the Point. It's now the O3. And there was queues. And while they were going to see her, they all came over to see, who's this guy hanging over the Liffey in a glass box. So anyway, and we had buckets down under and got a few bob off them before they went to the gig for the Cabbage Patch, for the Capuchin priests. So I went through the crowd with the tray, get into a car, went up to the speedboat at the other end of the Liffey, put on a wetsuit, put on a tuxedo over the wetsuit, and then water skied down. And we timed it with James Bond music and all playing. As the box was being lowered down, with all the curtains around it, for me to pull back, they all thought I was still in the box. I'd pull back the curtains and ta-da, here I am. When it came down, the curtains didn't open. And one of the guys had to get in and open the curtains and shout, "He's gone, look." And there I was coming down the Liffey, water skiing behind a speedboat as James Bond. I used to water ski quite a bit. Some people can do mono skiing. That's where you ski on one ski. Yeah, well, I was much better than that. I can ski on two skis. I'm joking. Those of you who know about water skiing, if you can ski on one ski, that's obviously better than two skis. Yeah, there's a trick to it. You have to put one foot behind the other, and people think water skiing's all about, the way you hold the rope or the strength and all. It's all about your back. It's the position you get your back into, and then you lock your hands. A good friend of mine, and he's still my friend for many years, a guy called Ado, taught me how to water ski. I'll never forget it. One Wednesday evening, we went out to Dunleary. He used to keep his boat down there at a place called Poolbeg in Ringsend. And we got on the boat there, and it was a beautiful summer's evening. It was August of the year. It was about 9 o'clock at night. The water was like a duck pond. Beautiful. And we were just inside the pier, and he said to me, would you like to know how to water ski? And I said, I'd love, yeah, I'm not busy. Show me. So I get in the water, I put on the life jacket, I've got my wetsuit on, I have the two skis on, I'm bobbing left to right, I'm holding the rope, he's not moving, and he says to me, now he shouts to me at the end of the rope from the back of the boat, whatever happens, do not let go of the rope. Now, my brain thinks in straight lines. Okay, that's why I have Martha, because she goes left, right. Her brain is like a Brillo pad. Mine, like most men, is black and white. We're very simple creatures. Straight lines. Like if I'm driving in the car and someone rings me and I'm talking away, I'll just keep driving in a straight line. I remember one time I was going to see my friend Eamon up in Castleblaney, which is Castle Bellingham, which is, as far as I know, exit 14 off the N1. And someone rang me, and I'm chatting away, and I just go in a straight line, and I finished the phone conversation, and it said, welcome to Belfast. That's how I'm wired, straight lines. So if someone says something to me, I take it straight. So Ado said to me, whatever happens, do not let go of the rope. So my brain hears, whatever happens, I have to hang on to the rope. Okay. Now, what he meant was, once you're up and you're skiing, don't let go of the rope. But I heard, whatever happens, don't let go of the rope. Okay, so I'm there. He said, are you ready? I said, yeah, I'm bobbing. He said, pull your knees into your chest. So I've got my knees right up. I'm like this. Two skis are like this. Okay, and what's supposed to happen is, he puts the throttle on full, the boat takes off, and as it planes, that means the front of the boat goes up, you come out of the water, you straighten your legs, lock your arms out, and lean back, and now the tension from the rope pulls you, and you're skiing. Now, going left and right, that's a whole different gig, but that's what's supposed to happen. Okay, so I'm there, knees underneath, two skis are straight up. He says, are you ready? I go, yeah. He floors the boat takes off. I come out of the water like Free Willy. My legs go like that. Honestly, it was like, vroom, two skis go flying. I go straight up in the air, straight back under. But bear in mind, I hear, whatever happens, don't let go of the rope. I'm still hanging on to the rope. I'm underwater. I'm flying through the water, hanging on to the rope. There's fish looking at me going, who's he? We're all here. Who's your man? I'm going through the rope, and until I couldn't hang on after a while any longer, and I let go, and I bobbed up to the top, and I'm all out of breath, and I'm in bits, and there's Ado hanging off the side of the boat, crying, laughing. The tears are flowing down his face. He's doubled up, and he says, what were you doing? I said, you said, whatever happens, don't let go of the rope. He said, I meant when you're up and you're skiing. So my new nickname for the rest of the week was Torpedo Man, because that's what I was like, a torpedo. After a couple of weeks of this, Wednesday nights, skiing over in Dunleary, got the hang of it. And one Wednesday night, I said to him, okay, bring me back to Poolbeg. I'm going to water ski from Dunleary all the way around the lighthouse back to Poolbeg. He said, Dave, are you sure it gets a bit choppy around the lighthouse? I said, hey, you know, I'm Dave Young. I could do anything. Right. So I'm skiing across the Irish Sea. It's like a duck pond. Absolute. I'm living the dream. I can hear the Bond music in my head. Flying across the bay till we come to the lighthouse, where, because you've the Liffey water going out, you've the Irish Sea coming in, and it's coming in from the Howth angle, it's coming from that way, and it's coming from that way. It goes mental at that point, okay? I come around the bend, and I'm now like, whoa, whoa, whoa. There was curse words coming out of me I don't think even exist. Anyway, it was like, feck this, feck that. Ah. Anyway, we get around, and we're now flying from the lighthouse back to Poolbeg, where there's a water treatment plant. I didn't know this. It's where all the shit gets turned supposedly into water, but a lot of it doesn't, and it's pumped into the sea, into the end of the Liffey at that point, and then it floats out to sea, and the fish dying on it. Okay? Well, I'm now flying through this slurry. The smell would send you sideways, and all I'm thinking is, I can't fall. This is not the place to fall. Now, I've come all the way from Dunleary, and I'm wrecked. The arms are gone, the back is gone, the legs is gone, everything is gone. I'm in bits. I eventually get through the slurry without falling, and then just before we got to the pontoon at the mooring at Poolbeg, I finally collapse. Well, I tell you, that ski from Dunleary to Poolbeg, I wasn't right for about a month. Every night in bed, I was lying asleep with the arms still in the locked position. I was walking around like Groucho Marx with my back in bits. Oh, it was mental. Anyway, so back to Sir John Rochester's ski. It's 2003. Beyonce is on over in the Point, and I'm going up into my box to spend the whole weekend. Incidentally, when I was telling everyone I'm going into a box for 3 days and I'm going to raise a few bob for the homeless, they all thought that was great. And he said, what do you mean a box? And I said, well, you know the way David Blaine is in a glass box and he's starving? Well, I'm going to be eating and drinking. And that's the funny take on it. I'll be in the box of my own. Well, every guy had one question and every girl had a question. All the women wanted to know was, you're going into a box for 3 days? Yeah. How are you going to go to the toilet? That's all women wanted to know. How was I going to go to the toilet? You know what the men wanted to know? You're going into a box for 3 days. Yeah. Are you going to have a... And I'm saying, what? Are you going to polish the rocket? I'm 60 feet in the air. That'll be a bit of crack. So I won't tell you how I went to the toilet. I will. I had a little chemical loo in there with me, and that was emptied. Believe it or not, when your adrenaline is high and you're doing things like stunts like this and all that, you don't go to the loo much, unless you're very nervous. Then you probably go a lot. But there isn't much of that actually over the few days. But I did have a little chemical toilet, like what you have when you go camping. I had that in there. So I had a bed, I had a TV, I had a video, I had my bathroom, I was being fed by the mansion house. Jesus, I could still be up there. And you want to see the view of the city from 60 feet up in the air. It's unbelievable. And to wake up in the morning and you're the only one awake. Well, you're definitely the only one in a glass box hanging over the Liffey in Dublin. There isn't another head case out there. And I remember when we were putting this all together, and there was meetings with the police, with the guards, there was meetings with councils, the Dockland security. It was a huge event to pull off. Keith Barry, magician Keith Barry's dad, who sadly passed there a while ago. Keith, if you're watching this, sorry to hear that. I lost my dad 15 years ago now, and it's that's a hard thing. When you lose somebody that close to you, me being an only child, my mum and dad were and still are my best friends. You're super close. People think, when you're an only child, the automatic assumption is, oh, spoiled rotten. And of course you are. I was spoiled with love. We didn't have any money, but I was spoiled with love. And but the flip side of being an only child is you get the blame for everything. Because you can't say, wasn't me. There's a big gang of you in the house and a lump goes out of the coffee table. My dad be carrying a stepladder through the house. Knock a lump out of the coffee table. He wouldn't realise he did it. And that night then I'd be called in. David, there's a lump gone out of the coffee table. I didn't do it. Your mother wouldn't do it. So suddenly it was me. I'm just glad I wasn't around when Kennedy was shot. David, there was grass on your knees. Did you shoot him? I wouldn't be surprised. But that is the flip side of being an only child. You can't say, wasn't me. Everything's you. It's all on you. So you do get all the attention. You do get all the love, but you get the blame for everything as well. So anyway, here is a little clip to give you an idea of me in 2003 hanging over the Liffey in a glass box to raise a few bob for the homeless. Have a look.
Sir John Rogerson's quay this evening. A red crane and a big black box don't exactly look out of place, but their business here is highly unusual. In just under half an hour, all will be revealed.
This is going to be my home. It's not finished yet, quite yet, but it'll be ready by 7 o'clock this evening, and that will be my home for the next 44 hours.
A glass box just like David Blaine's.
I've got lovely curtains, I've got a TV, a DVD, I've got a lovely bed. There's the bed, it's not ready yet, and hasn't been made up yet. We've to put a few things into the bed to keep me company, and I'm going to be up 50 feet over the Liffey. I hope we don't get those 70 miles an hour breezes from last night. I'll be like a flying kite.
Dave Young says that unlike David Blaine, he's doing this for charity. You're going to be hypnotised for the whole event. You're going to miss it all, are you?
No, Paul Golan this is just to get me over my fear of heights. He's going to make me believe I'm Nemo from the new Walt Disney movie, and this is going to be my new beautiful aquarium.
Okay.
Hard to believe.
You're going to be chasing fish, are you?
Well, it's a chase from birds. Yes, it's fish.
David Young will be back down to earth at around 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. Theresa Mannion, RTE News. Sir John Rogerson's quay was the venue for liftoff. David Young, poseur extraordinaire, arrived in style to set up home in a glass box 50 feet above the River Liffey. First, a blessing from Capuchin priest Brother Kevin. All the proceeds are going to the Capuchin Day Centre for the homeless.
50 feet in the sky and I'm afraid of heights. This should be something.
No fear, hypnotist Paul Golden stepped in to help Dave.
Sleep. Good. You are now a fish. As soon as you get into that tank of yours, you're going to be very, very happy because you are a beautiful fish.
Absolutely fantastic.
I have a few DVDs to watch. Gone with the Wind is the first one I'll be watching.
Will you be gone with the wind?
I hope not. If I do go with the wind, please find me.
Unlike David Blaine, this glass box comes equipped with luxury items, a DVD player, champagne and fine food, and best of all, a bed. So he's going up 50 feet above the River Liffey, and although there may not be a storm brewing, he could be in for a bit of turbulence. Dave Young will come back down to earth late Sunday afternoon. Theresa Mannion, RTE News, Sir John Rogerson's
Exactly.
quay.
So you're going to have beds, curtains, TV, video, DVD player.
Cuddly toys to the bathtub. Good game. Did he do well? Yeah, we're going to have everything in the box. Everything. Every whim I could want.
And you're going to have people delivering pizzas and
Yeah.
Chinese food and everything up to you.
Yeah, everything.
Even a masseur going in at one stage.
There's a what going in?
A masseur.
Oh, a masseur, yes, a masseur. There's a masseur going in, coming up. No, see, it's a bit early for this. I didn't know what you were calling me. It's endless. Gee, I've cramp in my hand from waving. If it was from another W word, I'd be okay.
Steady.
Oh, this is,
Look
yeah.
at this. I mean, come
where
on.
would you be, yeah?
James Bond, young.
There I am, look. This was shy and bashful. I'm like... When I'm the little guy you'd love to bring home to meet Mammy. Imagine how would I arrive. Yeah. So what's going on there? I disappeared from the box and I reappeared on the speedboat.
You get the book to do this sort of thing, you know, have you another stunt planned? Are you going to do something? Somebody said about walking backwards.
Yeah, my mate Ronan Keaton walked around Ireland for charity. So he walked around the whole of Ireland. So I was going to try and find the whole of Ireland, whatever county that is, and walk around it backwards.
Oh, look, fair play to you.
Thank you
very
very
brave
much.
man. Any man who admits in public that Ronan Keaton's a mate of his deserves some sort of special.
Well, there you are. That was me in a glass box hanging over the Liffey. Now, listen, I probably have to say, if there's any kids watching this, don't try that at home. Now, you would think you wouldn't have to say that. It's a bit like, you know, when you go to a hotel and there's a sticker on the hairdryer and it says, don't use in the shower. Like, who needs to be told this stuff? But apparently people do. So, boys and girls, if you're watching this, do not go and get, from a special effects company, a big glass box. Don't get Keith Barry's dad to sponsor the whole gig, and don't get all the permissions and then get into a glass box and eat and drink like a king and hang over the Liffey. Don't do it. It could be dangerous. Anyway, till next time, enjoy yourself. Whatever you're doing, keep doing. You look great. And don't forget, leave a comment before you go down below. I love reading your comments. Hit subscribe on YouTube. Till next time, I'll see you.